year I was critiqued about who I was. Nobody, I don't, the narrative, I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit in the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. But when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. So this was for the girls that look like me, that's gonna speak up on what they believe in. It's unapologetically you. And that's what I did it for tonight. This was for the more than, it was bigger than me tonight. It was bigger than me. Twitter is gonna go in a rage every time. And I mean, I'm happy. I feel like I've helped grow women's basketball this year. I'm super happy and excited. So I'm looking forward to celebrating in the next season. All year, I was critiqued about who I was. Nobody.
Hold on a minute. Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We're having a real conversation today. Well, I mean, about this situation. We have Angel Reese. She was villainized by the Caucasity of the institutionalized, the systematic racism that seems to exist within our community walls. We're gonna break it all the way down today, okay? Because not only is it a situation about her winning a game and doing John Cena, you can't see me, and you ain't got the ring. Not only was it about that situation, but Joe Biden's wife decided to come out and do a participation award. Oh, she's now becoming the Oprah of the world. You get a one, you get a one, you get a one, you get a one, you get a one. So basically what happened here is that I guess the winning team of national championships get invited to the White House. And what Joe Biden's wife has done in an aid of participation, I guess, nothing to do with the Caucasity at all, surely. No, nothing to do with Caucasity at all. But now decides to want to invite also the losing team to the White House as well, because we're doing participation awards at the moment as well. So this runs deeper, and it's the reason why we must talk about this. Okay, the reason why this conversation is important is, again, this is very similar to what we saw with the Just Pearly situation. And I want you to understand something. We don't reward mediocrity, I thought. And not only that, we have to start calling out the micro in order to change the macro. If we don't concern ourselves with the micro, we won't be able to change the macro. So I'm calling this a flag on the play. Now, let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. Okay? Did I say Biden? You know what? Him and Joe Biden are the same thing anyway, fam. Joe Biden, they're the same thing. In all honesty, right, with this situation, I'll play some clips so you can see what actually happened. And for me, this is again going back to what I call institutional, or should I call it systematic racism. See, out of the two teams, of course, a predominantly white team and a predominantly black team, the predominantly black female team, predominantly black women's team beat a predominantly white women's team at basketball. The winner oftentimes gets invited to the White House. See, when we talk about racism, we're not talking always about you called me a Negro. Yeah. You called me the N-word. Yeah. You talked about the color of my skin. It's not always that. See, if it was just that, we could be able to overcome. I'm sure we'd be able to win. No, but when there are whole systems that are against us, this is what we mean. Now, this is really a good case to be able to explain to somebody what systematic and what institutionalized racism actually is, because we get to see it right in front of our eyes, right? But I'm sure, again, once more, if you don't believe in racism at all, you probably will ignore this as well and call it a coinky dinky dink. Okay? Now, tradition holds it that whoever wins gets invited. It hasn't been broken since. And I'm going to play a little clip here from Skip Bayless and our brother from, I think it's Undisputed, Skip and Shannon. So let me just play this little clip here for you guys.
Her, because I'm going to be respectful of that position. The presidency is an institution, and his wife is to be respected as I give the president respect. But she need to sit down. What Skip? What is this about? Now, because the people that won, the young ladies that won, look like me, and the people that lost look like her, Now we're going to invite the runner-up. Never in the history, Skip, do you know going back, this goes back to 1865. Andrew Johnson welcomed the Brooklyn Athletics and the Washington Nationals.
Okay, so if you've got a tradition, okay, if you've got a tradition that is over 100 years old, okay, going on 150 years old and more, right? If you have a tradition that is that old, that the winners get invited and the losers, okay, don't get anything. If the winners take it all, losers standing tall. You know what I mean? If it's always been the case that the winners take it all, why is it that in 2023, when a predominantly white team and a predominantly black team, okay, play each other, right, that the predominantly white team gets rewarded for this mediocrity? This is what we mean by when we say about racism as a system works against us. We have to do above and beyond as black people to be able to be on the same level as white people. Sorry, wrong word. Caucasities, okay, Caucasians, okay, because they call us Negroids. So I'm gonna use the terms they use, okay, for the Caucasians, the Caucasoids, okay. In order for us to be on the same level as the Caucasoids, we have to do above and beyond. This is the perfect example of what I mean when the system is working against you. You lost. Winner takes it all, loser standing tall. You are a loser. You've lost the game. Yeah? You shouldn't be invited. You're not allowed in because you didn't win. And this is a tradition going over 150 years. Now, let me tell you something that is, let me tell you something that why we're not stupid, okay? Okay. Now, Joe Biden, okay, all right. You know who I'm talking about here, all right? His wife, Jill, all due respect to all dignitaries and powers in government, because God has allowed them to be there. But number one, you know the current climate that we're in, okay? All right, you know the current climate we're in, number one. Number two, you have advisors who can tell you, wait, you know what? We have a tradition. This doesn't get broken, this tradition. Okay, this tradition doesn't get broken. Okay, right? It's a tradition that's been going on for 150 years. We don't break it, so let's not break it. Number three, look at what you're seeing in front of you. Okay, in front of you, look at it. What's happening? So the reality of the situation, okay, the reality of the situation is that Jill Biden does not care, because it has to go through several. It had to have gone through several, what do we call it, associates or several delegates who would help have a conversation with her, right? It would have to go through several delegates and associates to get to that place before she can make this decision. So she has intentionally, I can guarantee you, someone probably told her, this don't look good, don't do it. This don't sound right. Right? This don't look good. This don't sound right. I wouldn't advise you to do it. Right? I know she got warned. Okay? Because this kind of decision, the blowbacks of it all, there's no way you didn't have associates and people in wisdom, in power, who could have told you, hey, baby Jill, I hear you, but let's not break tradition here. Yeah? Let's not break tradition here. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? Now, the reality of the situation is, okay, Caitlin hasn't done anything wrong. So Caitlin, we don't include. Caitlin Clark is not an issue. Caitlin Clark is not an issue, okay? But we're talking about systematic, institutional racism. This is why black people, when I say some stuff like, I don't like when black people come out here and say you can win anyway. Look, the system is the racism is dead. You can win at any. No. Stop that talk. Stop that shirking and that jiving. Stop that dancing on the fence. The realization, the reality of life is when we try to do what we want to do, it is like Egypt. It's like Egypt holding on to Israel all over again. It's like Egypt holding on to Jews. Okay, I'm giving a historical background. All right. So whenever we try to do our own thing, right, they will come and collect us. So what I'm saying is, okay, all right. So what I'm saying here is this, right? We can see a clear aspect where an institutional, or should say the governmental power, the White House, has taken a decision, okay, to systematically break the rules which has been in place for 150 years. It's a tradition that goes back since 100 years, that is talking about the winner takes it all and gets to see White House. And what they did was unprecedented in its time and season to break it just for mediocrity, caucasity, and caucasoidness. That's what they done, right? They broke protocol and broke tradition for caucasity and caucasoidity. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Right? So for them to want to invite Iowa, who lost the game, it is only because of their caucasity that they're being invited. Not because they were good, not because it was one of those, not because it was one of the most emotionally built up matches that has historical context. Not because this game is going to change the game of history, right? This is not one of those things. We you know what I mean? This is not one of those things. We had wasn't it Super Bowl this year? We had 2 black quarterbacks, the first you ever had, right? I think it was 2 first black quarterbacks you ever had in the Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl final. I don't see them both being invited to White House, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. All right. So for me personally, I don't get why the losers will be invited. I don't get it. If I wasn't aware of our history. Okay. All right. So for me personally, for me personally, I don't understand this necessity to try and bring in a reward for poor performance. Yeah, you lost. Why are we rewarding their poor performance? And this is what I mean by how difficult it is as black people. Look at this. If you were at work, could you imagine this at work? No, I want you to understand. I want you to understand the context of how this would work in work, right? I want you to understand how this would work in work. Okay. All right. I want you to understand how this works. How this works is this. If you were at work, okay, if you were at work, imagine they gave you a position at work, said whoever has the highest test scores will get the job. Yeah? Only one job position is going. Okay? Only one person is going to get this. Okay? So now you win the test score as a black person. And you're going up against a white person. They check the scores. You won. Your score was the highest. Okay? Your score was the highest, right? And then they say at the end, do you know what? I know that you won, coach. And I know you got the highest score. Okay? I know you got the highest score. But I want to let you know, okay, that we also got Colin, who took the test as well. He didn't do as well as you. He didn't. You beat him. But he's going to get the job as well. We're going to create a job for him as well. So there was no job before, but suddenly, because of Colin's whiteness, caucasoidness and caucasity, yeah, your boss now has the caucasity to make a new job. That's when we talk about institutional kind of racism we're talking about. People tend to start trying to shirk, break, and begin to set new precedences and rules, okay, to benefit the Caucasoid. So when we talk about what factors are playing against the ordinary black man or the ordinary black woman, the ordinary black individual on a day-to-day basis, the goalpost shifting and moving is what it is, right? It is the caucasity of the Caucasoid is to move the goalpost just as you're about to shoot and score. Do you see what I'm saying to you? And even when they lose, they are rewarded in their mediocrity. This is the institutional systematic racism we're talking about, right? Let's listen a bit more. Okay? I love this.
Club. But the first professional baseball team to get invited to the White House, Ulysses S. Grant did it in 1869. The Cincinnati Red Stockings.
That's some deep research right
there. Winners. Never in the history, Skip. That's the part of winning a national championship. That's the part about winning the Super Bowl, the World Series, or the NBA title. Guess what, Skip? We get invited to the White House. The losers don't get anything. This is not a participation award, and that's what's watered down sports in America. Little Johnny and Little Susie get an award just because they were on the team, although they didn't win anything. All the teams, if you were in the league, you get a trophy. No, winners get a trophy. That's what life is about. You got to win.
And so and this is why I said about micro becoming macro. This is only sports. And this is NCAA, National Championship Awards. This is telling you what you're about to face in life. Right? This is telling you what you're about to face in life. That you will not get that. You will be facing an upper hand or a hill, and someone else will get a booster simply because of the color of their skin. And what he's breaking down here is there is no award for participation. All right? There is no award for participation. If you lose, you lose. Now, I think what's really important here is to add what we call intersectionality. Okay? All right? This is what we need to add. Intersectionality. For anybody's out there, if you're new to this word, what it basically means is it's just intersections, right? And the intersection we're talking about here is adding the fact that there's a black person or a black person in the community, and then adding an intersectional aspect of a woman. So there's an intersection. Yeah. So when we talk about issues within our community, we have to be aware of the intersectionality of the issue. If we only break it down from a black community issue, we will miss certain nuances that are also involved with this particular conversation. Intersectionality, meaning as a man or a woman, that's the intersection, right? So you can be a black man and you're facing certain things. You can be a black woman and you're facing certain things, depending on that particular aspect. It's very important, right? Because now we're talking about black women specifically, right? And what conversation was happening on the internet is, again, like I said it again once more, it just seems a bit too easy for Caucasoids to open up their mouth and tell black women, and they were young girls, even black girls, black women in their 20s, I guess, a little bit younger than that, about themselves because they were celebrating at the time, specifically Reese, right? And it's quite interesting how quickly they jumped on the bandwagon to label her all sorts of names and get annoyed at the fact she celebrated like this when the first person to taunt her was a Caucasoid. How you gonna start the beef and I end it and you get vexed because I ended it? That again is the entitlement of the Caucasoid. When they do something and you do it back, they cry and manipulate and throw their hands in the air as if we've done something wrong. And when I talk about Caucasoid, I'm talking about the system, but I'm also talking about some people too, right? So it's not all white, it's not all Caucasoids. I'm talking about a specific type of Caucasoid, and I'm talking about the system of Caucasoidity. Okay, Caucasoidity, yes, it's a word. Check it up in the dictionary. Caucasoidity, okay? It's somewhere there in the Caucasoid X section, okay? Right? So in the Caucasoidity area, okay, they can do whatever they feel like. You see, they're used to hitting and us not being able to hit back because they knew that if we hit back, they could do something really bad to us. See, they're used to taking from us and us not being able to take back because something bad will happen to us. See, they're used to being able to bully us, and because we couldn't do anything back, they're used to that being that position. And the day that the bully decides that the day that the bully gets bullied back, I don't even say bully back. The day the bully gets what it deserves, the bully starts crying and calling itself a victim. And this is what's happened. Not Caitlin. Caitlin Clark hasn't done this. Let's be very, very clear. Caitlin Clark has not done a thing wrong. Caitlin Clark does not come out and said anything bad. She's not complaining about the treatment she's got. She never made a scene about it. It was other Caucasoids within the Caucasoid system. Yeah? There was other Caucasoids in the Caucasoid system. Okay? And this is how they behave within the system, because the system protects them. Right? The system protects them. Right? So yeah, this was interesting. Let me listen a bit more to Skip. Okay. And I'll talk more about intersectionality.
If I don't what do I get by sitting at home doing absolutely nothing? I don't get a paycheck. I don't get anything. I don't get the rewards of winning. And she's like, well, give her a break. She doesn't understand. She was in attendance.
She was in attendance.
She saw what was going on in the arena. She knows the backdrop of this story. The number one trending topic. What was, Skip? It wasn't that LSU won. It was Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
And so she's a doctor. If she didn't know, she should have known.
Skip, be kidding me, bro. So just to give it a bit of an understanding. So we're talking again about the intersectionality aspect here, especially for Reese, Angel Reese. And the intersectional aspect I'm talking about here that goes deeper is how Black women are policed in this aspect, or should I say how Black women are spoken of and how they're treated. I was on the internet and I was on Twitter. Now, you know how Twitter be. Okay. So, Twitter be moving very, very mad. You know what I mean? And there were so many Caucasoids typing away, basically, giving their 2 cents pence, and some of them being very disrespectful, being too comfortable to be disrespectful to a Black young lady. And it's just disappointing to see, but it's not outside of their remit that we've seen this behavior before. And the reality of the situation is we've seen this one too many times, right? And we've seen how also the celebratoriness of Black women, especially in sports, it can be downplayed. Listen, what this girl has done is nothing short of amazing. Similar to Serena Williams when she was killing the game as well. Listen, Serena Williams is arguably one of the best sportsmen ever. Not even just in her sport. She's arguably one of the best sportsmen ever. Ever. That includes the men too. You know what I mean? Of course, we're not asking her to beat men, but we're saying in terms of greatness, this woman has dominated her sport, bro. Like, got pregnant, came back, beat people again. Don't tell me about them things there. You understand what I'm telling you? So, we are talking about people that with amazing feats, and we've seen how quickly the Caucasoid media can be quick to turn and tear down a black woman. And so again, the reason why I'm talking about this, I think it's very important, is because this is where we need to be able to protect our own. This is what I'm talking about. When things like this happen, we should be the first on the front line saying, hey, y'all don't, no. What we're not about to do is do that. What we're not about to do is do that to our no. Y'all know you're out of pocket for doing what you're talking about. You're out of pocket, right? So these are the moments where we can show support for our Black women, but also our Black community. Okay, this is what we should be getting for, and that's I said again, and I want to show you a clip. Caitlin Clark is not our issue. She did not have a situation with Angel Reese. It was all in basketball, love and war, It was after effects of other people. Okay. And so when you see people, yes, absolutely right, Chrissy, people like this empower the black men coming out and supporting. This is an aspect of protection for our community, an aspect of saying we are not going to allow y'all to just talk how you talk. Caucasians always got to watch their mouth. Okay. Because the words that you're saying right now are problematic. Leave us alone. Leave that young lady alone. Now, I want to show you a clip because I want to be fair. I always like to be fair. And I think it's important too. Caitlin Clark, I think, had an interview and she spoke a little bit about the situation. So let's listen as well here.
You know, one of the things people talk about is race as a component of this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, I don't think Angel should be criticized at all. You know, no matter which way it goes, you know, she should never be criticized for what she did. You know, I'm just one that competes and she competed. So I think everybody knew there was going to be a little trash talk in the entire tournament. It's not just me and Angel. So, you know, I don't think she should be criticized. Like I said, LSU deserves it. They played so well. And like I said, I'm a big fan of hers.
You know, one of the things people talk about is race as a component of this. Your thought?
Now, very, very elegant, very, very classy, you know, kept it simple, said, hey, it's trash talking. It is what it is. It's a part of the game. And this is what we need to see people come out and say stuff like, because it's trash talk. It's sport, bro. Like when when I'm playing sports, I'll be trash talking like a mother. I'll be trash talking like somebody's mother. I'll be going at it, bro. And when I get off the court, I'm like, bro, you good? You good? All right, cool. We keep it calm. We keep it moving. We leave everything else on the court and on the pitch. I don't take it off the pitch. It's not about that life. It's a part of sport. It's a psychological aspect to the sport, right? And so that's my biggest thing. So why are people outside of Caitlin and Angel trying to make a narrative as if Angel was really bad? You're so sad that your team lost. You're so sad that your team lost. Like you're more of a sore loser than Caitlin. Did you lose it or did Caitlin lose it? You know, did you lose it or did Caitlin lose it? That's the question we're asking. Okay. So honestly, like it's a real thing, man. It's we're just saying that, you know, I think we need to be able to hold these people to account and call out nonsense when it's nonsense. You know, for me, it's problematic. Let me see this situation. I think there's another situation I want to see.
In any type, shape, forms, or fashion. We're not in agreement with that. We're not in alignment with that in any way. And number two, $1 million worth of game. LLC is owned by two people. Wallace Peoples and Fernard Rossi. Shout out to Angela Reese. Y'all did a great thing. Y'all did y'all thing. Congratulations for being the champions.
I want to show you something. So I'm going to show you something. I don't know if you can hear it. So, you know when I told you about shirking on the fence? I don't like people shirking on the fence. I think this is one of those things that's shirking on the fence. Let's have a look at this.
Shout out to Angela Reese. Y'all did a great thing. Y'all did y'all thing. Congratulations for being the champions. And I'm going to say this. We don't stand with nothing that Dave Portnoy said in any type, shape, forms, or fashion. We're not in agreement with that. We're not in alignment with that in any way. And number two, $1 million worth of game. LLC is owned by two people. Wallace Peoples and Fernard Rossi. We do not work for Barstool. We have a partnership. We have a licensing deal. 100% ownership is by us. We don't have no bosses. I only got one boss, and that's God. And my wife, whenever that happens, whenever I get married. But other than that, that's how we rock.
You be a boss?
Yeah, you know, that's how shit go, cuz. That's how you know. People like Tootie got the control of the money.
These two guys are funny. They were talking about the situation with Angel Reese.
She did a great job, young sister. And we're not just gonna stand for that. Like Dave, like for her to be a classless piece of shit because of basketball, you're wrong about that shit.
And we love you, Dave.
We fuck with you, Dave.
But we fuck with you the long way.
You're totally out of pocket for that. You're wrong for that. For a human being to be a classless piece of shit for sports where it's nothing but trash talking and talk, we're not doing that. We're not gonna do that shit. And we're not gonna let you do that to ours. We can't go for that shit. We're not gonna be having that. But shout out to Angela Reese, you did your thing. Shout out to everybody that was involved, all you women played the ball and had a hell of a time. But we need to be talking about something different.
Shout out to Iowa too. They came up and played hard.
Yeah, they played hard. But shout out to the whole LSU. Y'all did a great job. Congratulations, Queens, on your championship. And it's just like that.
Right.
Love that. See, again, another way we're defending another way we're defending our community is stuff like this coming out. Yes, it was Dave Portray. Yeah. It was a comment. There was a comment on Twitter by this gentleman. So I'll show you the Twitter comment, because that's what's actually kind of like sparked a lot of the madness as well. Let me just see if I can find it for you guys as well. So so there was another tweet here. I want to show you guys one. There's a Twitter was gone on a mad one. You know, I can't lie to you. This is Shaq. Let me show you what Shaq was saying. Shaq was on one. So this guy called Keith Olbermann said, "What an effing idiot," as a thingy, and then Shaq said, "Shut your dumb ass up and leave Angel Reese alone." And then she quote tweeted the tweet and said, "Yeah, my uncle Shaq don't play about me. Period." I don't know if she actually genuinely, if that's genuinely her uncle. Why? It's a madness out here. There's a lot of defending here. Look, you know, Emmanuel Acho, if it wasn't classes when Caitlyn did it, Clark did it, don't call it classes when Angel Reese does it. Let the woman compete. It's sports. And even a white guy defended it, saying, you know, a white woman from Iowa, Caitlyn can't talk to her team during a game. It's funny, part of competition. When a black woman from Louisiana, Angel Reese, decides to do it back, she's not showing sportsmanship. Disgusting. If you ever need an example of ... you know, great there, you know. And Barack Obama, shout out to Barack Obama coming out, putting out a tweet as well. He says, "Congrats to the new champs LSU. They earned it, and I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot more from them in the years ahead." You know, so there's some real stuff that is going on. There was a lot of great defense. There's a lot of great defense for our women here, and I think this is what we're saying is really important. You know, I think this is what we need to be seeing more of. Now, Michael Leslie said something as well, so let me just see.
Clark around the floor, doing the "you can't see me" hand gesture and holding up her ring finger. Listen, was it a little much? Okay, maybe. The following her around the floor part maybe is a little much. That's as much as I've got for you on this, though. A little much. That's it. Let's not forget who we're talking about here. This is Caitlin Clark. First and foremost, the best player in the game, a sniper who will pull from anywhere, and a legitimate paradigm-shifting athlete that has taken the women's game to new heights. But we're also talking about a supreme trash talker herself, telling Haley Van Lith to shut up because her team was down 15. It doesn't matter anyway. Sloughing off even guarding a South Carolina big because there's no point. Doing the "you can't see me" gesture to both Louisville and South Carolina. And there's nothing wrong with any of that either. It's trash talk in sports. It's part of competition at the highest level. And make no mistake, what we're seeing from Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, and so many more is absolutely competition at the highest level. We as fans should act like it. If something like this happened in the NBA, we wouldn't hardly blink. Caitlin Clark is a grown woman. She does not need your protection. Angel Reese.
Now, the reason why, again, like I said, the reason why this happens, and the reason why this happened, and it was white men. Look, sorry, I apologize. I keep saying the wrong word. The Caucasoid men came out and were trying to dish it out to Angel Reese. That's the reason why this whole thing started. I hardly saw any Caucasoid women. Hardly. It was Caucasoid men coming out to defend her when she never asked to be defended. You know why? Because it wasn't about the woman. It had nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. The Caucasoid man wasn't thinking about Caitlin Clark. Okay? The Caucasoid man was not thinking about Caitlin Clark. Look, let me tell you something about men in general. Okay? Right? And this is me talking about men in general, as a general principle of men, not necessarily every man, but the general principle of man and the darkest parts of his heart. When it comes to white supremacy specifically, Caucasoid supremacy, we don't mention white on this channel. Caucasoid supremacy, okay? All right? He will happily take shots at the black folk in order to make a point. And he will happily use the Caucasoid women to do so. So he will look for an excuse to rain down some of his Caucasoid racism, right? Happily. This was a perfect example. This is the women's game. What the heck are you getting stressed about? It's not even your game. It's the women's game. Why are you inside women's business? That's what I want to know. Okay, why are we inside women's business? Okay, why are we on women's business? Now, the Caucasoid male, it was not doing this to defend the white woman's honor. Sorry, apologies. The Caucasoid woman's honor. Okay, the Caucasoid male in the environment wasn't doing this to cover the Caucasoid woman's behind. The Caucasoid woman was not embarrassed, nothing. But what you must understand throughout the course of history is the Caucasoid male has to think about himself and how he can benefit from a situation. So in the same way, okay, all right, in the same way, right, the Caucasoid male will use this opportunity to take a dig. And you see, any feeling of threat towards his queen, any threat towards his queen, because remember, how they portray femininity is the Caucasoid woman needs to be saved. She's dainty, she's faint, she's soft, she's in need of she's a damsel in distress. Remember, Caucasoid femininity is about being a complete damsel in distress, needing saving, needing to be protected, because you never know when the King Kong gonna be around the corner. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? It's about needing to defend them from the King Kongs. Yeah, because remember, we're still animals to them. I'm talking about the system. I'm talking about every particular Caucasoid, by the way. I'm talking about the Caucasoid system. So to them, we're still brute animals. So how dare we think we are on the same level as them? It enrages the Caucasoid system. How can we? How can we think to be on the same level as their Caucasoid queen? You see what I'm saying to you? All right. So I'm just saying, I just feel like this is deeper than just it being about, the trash talking. This is more than that. You know what I'm saying? So, this goes deeper than that. This goes to our history. This goes down to our history. And the fact that people couldn't even fact check before they even started having this conversation. The trash talking was started off by the young lady in the first place. It was started off by the Caucasoid queen. I mean, and she's apparently amazing at basketball. I'm not even vexed at her. Let her continue. Oh, I didn't even see this. Let's have a look at this, baby.
We were to lose.
Let's look at this. Hold on. You guys can see this. I want to see this, what you're going to say. Okay. Oh.
Same. If we were to lose, we would not be getting invited to the White House. And I remember she made a comment about both teams should be invited because it was sportsmanship. And I'm like, are you saying that because of what I did and what, like, that stuff like that? It bothers me because you are a woman at the end of the day. And you're supposed to be standing behind us before anything. So it's hard to see things like that and not to comment back on it. But same, if we were to lose, we would not be getting invited to the White House. And I remember she made a comment about a lot of phone calls. And that's why she wants to come out and apologize. But at the same time,
the damage is
I don't accept I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't accept the apology because of you said what you said.
Biden.
Yeah.
First
the wife,
lady.
yeah.
You said what you said and you meant what
I
you
said what I said. And like you can't go back on certain things that you say. I mean, you felt like they should have came because of sportsmanship, right? They can have that spotlight. We'll go to the Obamas. We'll see, I'm gonna see Michelle. I'm gonna see Barack.
Hold on. So did you guys speak to the first lady?
No, apparently she was supposed to come to our locker room before the game, but we said no.
Before the game?
Yeah, she was supposed to come to our locker room and go to Iowa's locker room. I don't know if she talked to them. I don't know if she did, but we said we didn't want to. We didn't want her coming to the locker room. I think Joe Biden had put somebody else to win a national championship. He didn't put us on his bracket to get out of Baton Rouge. So I was like, bet. And a lot of phone calls, and that's why she wants to come out and apologize.
It gets tasty from here. Ooh. I didn't know all that was happening. She was like, "Listen, we ain't going to you. We're going to the Obamas." I love the fact she was so. I love the way that she actually said it because we know what it's about, right? So she didn't, and I love the fact she didn't mention anything about racism, but at the same time made it sure it was about racism. Because when you say we're going to go to the Obamas, we know exactly what it means, right? So you ain't going to tell us the truth as the reason why you want to do participation right now. I ain't going to tell you the truth about why I'm going to the Obamas. So you know why I'm going to the Obamas, and you know why you did participation awards. So we ain't going to say the R word, but we know exactly what we're talking about here. You know, and I know. Okay? You know, and I know. Okay, just saying. You know, and I know. Yeah. So I love that response by her, man. Again, another well-educated, well-rounded conversation. And I love that aspect as well. Great play. So it's great to see. Yeah, so it was good to see, and see how she responded in such a smart, clever type of way. It's important to see these kind of things discussed and to be handled correctly as well. But yeah, it was it was interesting to see at least. I want to see some other thoughts on here. Let's have a look at this.
Who said she was the fourth?
She was in that game. She was the fourth leading scorer. Here's the deal.
Tournament MVP.
I'm going to run through three things quickly. First one is this. This whole weekend and the whole tournament was amazing for women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark was great for women's college basketball. Angel Reese been great for women's college basketball. That was the best played game of this tournament, either gender. The shot making, all of it. It was outstanding. Everything was great about that this whole weekend, except for the officiating in that game. Right. That's first of all. Second of all, the reason I said sexism is there is an element of we don't want our female athletes to be as aggressive and swaggery as we want our male athletes to be oftentimes. Unless, of course, you're a white female athlete, in which case, even though you are the baddest son of a gun on the court, as Caitlin Clark has been all year, the media will turn you into an underdog. She ain't nobody's underdog. She's talking all the trash, and she's backing it all up. And then we get to the third point. A tale as old as time. America does not like the braggadocious, boisterous, authentically arrogant black athlete. And whether you're a man or a woman, there are certain things that are going to set off the criticism alarms. And that is the black athlete that it doesn't just act like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. The black athlete that will say, I just kicked your ass and I'm going to revel in it. And it is especially galling to folks when they're doing that to a white athlete whose ass they just kicked.
And let me just tell you this. So what that is, let me break it down to you. Okay. What that is what we call racism. Okay, that's racism, first and foremost. Number two, also, this is very similar for misogyny. I've told you guys already this. I've told you my story already, that as a man, and I can be very honest to you about this as a man, when you're born into a place of privilege, when you're faced with certain things, you start to realize how triggered you can be. Right? As a man, I'll be honest with you, you can see certain things that women do, and you get more triggered because it's a woman. I'm just going to be real with you. Okay? Like, for instance, when a woman plays a man, you can get more triggered. Right? And a man plays a woman, you're like, oh, well, it is what it is. You know, men do that. Do you know what I mean? Right? And the reason being is because we've always been in a position of power. So having to be on the back foot where you're not in a position of power can be very unnerving. This is why I believe that racism still exists and why white folk can feel uncomfortable when they see a black person oftentimes being very, braggadocious, being very buoyant, and being confident and just showing that they're just about that life. Because the reality is you're scared that you're next to be dethroned. That's just the reality of it all. You know, that's all. That's all it is. You know, it's unfortunate, but it is true, right? And it's something you have to begin to unlearn. I myself know I was going through that journey, still going through it, because there's always going to be pieces of me that I'm going to have to undo because I've always been born into a place of privilege. I don't know nothing different than the privilege I've been born into, right? So you have to learn how to take that on the chin and be like, okay, I need to check why I may be reacting in this particular way. All right. So this is also very important as well, right? To ask yourself the real question, why? You know? So yeah, I think that's also an important piece as well to talk about as well. But yeah, no, it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. So yeah, it's mad that in the dunya. Anybody have any thoughts they wanted to share let me know. And I'll put a link in the chat for you guys.
There are many, many people, some of whom love this show, and for those people, I apologize. They are more bothered by the discussions of race than they are by actual racism. But the reaction this young woman received was racist, flat. And you know who was not bothered by it? Caitlin Clark. That's my favorite. Because she doesn't. She's a competitor. She's awesome, and she knows it's fair game. Only reason anyone would have been outraged, except for the select few that were furious with Caitlin a week ago, of which I have seen almost none, are folks that whether they know it or not, some people right now are watching saying that bothered me. It had nothing to do with race. Yes, it did. Whether you are recognizing, admitting it or not, seeing that taller, proud, imposing black woman taunt that white girl, something in your reptilian brain, it bothered you. And race is inextricably tied to this. And folks want to pretend it wasn't. It was. And that young woman should be very proud. And standing up at that press conference and saying I'm going to be authentically myself and I'm not apologize for it, I thought it was great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Yeah, we appreciate that. Man came correct and said what it was. It really is what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people, and that's the thing, like I said, I understand as a man too, I'm also concerned about these stuff, and it happens to me. You get misogynies in your system. You just have to begin to unlearn it. You know what I mean? It comes with the territory. Oftentimes we've been in a place of privilege, and you have to kind of learn how to undo it. You know what I mean? So, but that's conversation for another day, I guess. You know what I mean? I see you, Amber, as well. If anybody wants to join the panel or join the conversation, I'll put the link in the chat if you want to have your say. We love to hear what your thoughts are on this particular situation as well. Okay. Do me a massive favor, the audience. There's 126 of you guys. Please like the live. We've got 47 people liking the live, which is great, but I need 100 at least. Okay, let's like the live, people. Let's like the live. All right. Is that we got a 48. That's it. I see the likes going up. 48, 49. Come on. Let's keep the likes going. There's 129 of you in the room. Press that like button. Press that like button. Okay. All right. So if you want to join the conversation, do click on the link and join us as well. Yes, Amber.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's good?
Hey, so I found out about this from Twitter. I don't watch sports faithfully like that. So literally I found out about it because the side-by-side of the hand gesture kept coming across my timeline. I'm like, what is this side-by-side mess? What is going on? Then I heard on the radio Jill's comments. My thing is this, and I put it even underneath my name. Excellence knows no color. Stop trying to reward mediocrity because it is wrapped in white skin. If you were beat, you were beat. And the sad part is, we were discussing it in the chat. Jill, sometimes it's best to be silent because your husband is possibly coming up for re-election soon. And your husband has a bad habit of saying dumb stuff regarding the Negroid community and having to apologize for it. Charlemagne the God, that whole situation. you are further reminding people, oh yeah, we really shouldn't like you and your husband because y'all got issues that's kind of under the surface that y'all don't like to talk about. This is not the first time that camp has come out of their mouth sideways in a way that they thought maybe was not offensive or thought they can get away with it in a dog whistle politics type way, and people called them out on what it is. And I'm proud of Angel for speaking up and not being scared of the power, quote unquote, and saying what's on her mind. But it's the fact of, you got a real election coming up soon. It's best to sit there and be quiet. This is not a smart move, because now Joe has to go. I graduated from the HBCU, Hampton University, class of 2017. If he were to dare come on my campus after this mess in the next couple weeks, the first thing a student would ask is, what are your thoughts about the Angel Caitlyn controversy and your wife's comments? It would come up immediately, especially with there being a lot of, back when Barack ran the first time, a lot of the college votes is what got him his seat. This isn't good. This is not good. Stop being in women's business. That's stupid. If the girl's not mad, why are you mad? This is stupid. It seems like people, because of the climate with the possible re-election, the indictment with Trump and stuff, it seems like everybody wants something to fuss about. And it's just like, sit your entitlement down somewhere in a corner and relax. This is a women's game. Y'all know we don't even watch women's games. Why do you care? The WNBA makes less than a rookie NBA player. Like, why are y'all tripping? Y'all don't even rock with women's sports like that. Why do you care? It's just, it makes no sense to me. It's like, y'all sit down somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that obviously there was a bit of fragility there from a particular demographic. I think they saw their own losing and saw their own not make it, and they it was, I get it. You see your own people, and the fragility kicks in, and you want to be able to say, you know what, I know that Caitlin Clark is amazing. Let's bring her in as well. She shouldn't have to miss up on this situation because she's so great. But the reality is her team lost. And we reward, it's meant to be a meritocracy in terms of rewarding people for merit, in terms of what they do. And sport is one of those things that's so clear. You can't mess around with sport. And like I said, if it had been the greatest comeback story or something like that or whatever, then we could have said something. But this wasn't even one of those moments. She got beat. It is what it is. She won't come to the White House today. She might come tomorrow. You know what I mean? She might come in a few months' time. You know what I mean? She might come in a few years' time when she wins in WNBA. Because she looks like she's really that good. So hey, there is no fear. She'll probably be in the White House very soon. If it's such a big deal, just go meet her. Jill, go meet her.
Exactly.
Before the game.
Exactly.
So even for inviting her to the White House,
Exactly. And I will say this, I went in the chat. I'm not saying that this will change people's vote. What I am saying is that, and this is my personal opinion, the Biden administration already has a lot of opposition. I'm not saying it's going to change people's votes. I'm saying I feel like that the public is already a bit on the fence when it comes to the Biden administration, especially people of color, and comments and things like this do not help the situation. They make matters worse. I'm a social media manager, so that means I work in marketing, for those that want a more old school term. It's all about the image. Biden already has shot his image a lot of times, which is, I ain't gonna go there because if I say that, they ain't gonna like me on here. But he's tried to clean it up in different ways using different people. That's what I will say. But it's coming around now, and this is too close to this for you to be making missteps like that. I'm not saying the wife can't have her opinion. I'm saying, as you said before, I know somebody that works in there was like, Madam Biden, I don't think that's a good idea. I know somebody had to pull her aside to go, that ain't it. And if you do it anyway, okay, then that is your caucasity, and then you're gonna get your backlash. And that's nobody's fault but your own.
And she has received her back. I think she's taking it back, her comments, has she? I think she might have done.
She is, but don't nobody want to hear that.
No one want to hear it now. It's too late. You were shirking on the fence.
Y'all cutting up in these comments, so I'm trying to be professional. Ain't no telling who might hear this. So see this.
It's you know, it is what it is. You know, I just think to myself, unfortunately, people like this keep making mistakes. Joe Biden keeps making these damn mistakes, you know. But it's a problem because it talks about the mindset of the people in power. And if they see it this way as well, how best can we really feel about the system that they are supposed to be protecting and supposed to be governing? And it's like, if you are this way, imagine what the system is that you're governing. Must be even worse. You know what I mean? So for me personally, yeah, it wasn't the best thing to see from Jill. Poor move, especially based on that, you know, especially if she's thinking about her husband going for another run. Poor move.
That was not
should
smart.
discuss with him.
Yeah. And going to the White House is a big honor. I myself went to the White House back when Barack and Michelle were in office. I got to meet them in 2012 with my high school choir. That's a big honor. Going to the White House is no small feat. I still pull that out my back pocket every now and then if I'm trying to, like, you know, get a client, do their campaign for their page or something. I'll pull it out the back pocket real quick if I need to, you know, put that little edge on there, show the picture. You know, they start going into the what? Really? Like, yeah, I got connections like that. I got the juice. You know, that's a big thing. You don't give that to just anybody. The girl ain't earned it. The girl ain't earned it. She'll probably get it next year, like you said. Unless Angel, you know, beat her again. But you get my point.
She gonna beat her ass again.
I might go back and watch the game after talking about all this. So it is good publicity for female sports. I'm not gonna lie, because now I'm like, I might have to go watch these replays to see exactly how bad she tore her up. Because I heard it was like 17.
I didn't even see the game. You know, I didn't even see the game.
I heard it was. I heard they tore it up.
Well, there you go. They got bust up.
Exactly.
Boss up. And that's what you get. Listen, do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, they'll learn a lesson. Jill Biden hopefully has learned her lesson. She won't do that again. She'll let her know that, listen,
that it doesn't
that's not how we're gonna operate in this space, you know?
Exactly. And
So,
I see beauty within Kakra. I see you in the comments. Honestly, I agree with you. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I agree with you on that one. But you know, it ain't about who I like. Politics is politics. You know, we keep it.
Politics is politics indeed. You know, like I said, you know, some things are not macro. There's some things are micro, you know. They're small things, but they lead to bigger things. You know?
Facts.
So
Facts.
you know, this might not be a big issue now, but
It might not. But I think this is putting Angel in front of people that never would have known about her. I would have never known about Angel until this happened. This situation, as messed up as it is, I do think it will set her up to possibly be the next Serena or something of that nature, to have her name be big on that level if she continues to move forward in this excellence in her sport. Because now she has the public on her side. And if the public's not on their side, they're going to catch that backlash. And, you know, people, they don't like backlash. So even if they're not on her side, they'll probably lie and say they are.
Listen, to be honest, for me, look, you know, I think Caitlin's even said that she didn't want that it should be for the LSU for people already, but it's too late now. LSU obviously said they're not, potentially they might not be going. So you know, this has cost the Biden administration a little bit. This is put an egg on their face. But I think also as well, it's a good show as well of strength. That you know what, you know, in the midst of this, we're not going to accept the bare minimum from you guys either. So I think that's also really powerful as well for the ladies not to go, because I think it just shows again, you know, we have some value in ourselves. We respect ourselves, and what you did was disrespectful. So we ain't going to show you any level of courtesy in that regard to come over on this invitation. We're just going to stay where we stay, do what we do, but we don't need to go over there. You know,
exactly.
Don't need to.
Exactly. It's just sometimes like you can't. Sometimes I feel like we as a people, we let stuff go easily. And I'm a believer, so you have to forgive, but you still have to. You teach people how to treat you. You can't come at me sideways all the time, and I always take it. I'm gonna let it go. But if you come to me like, oh, I need help with no.
No. Okay. Any other last thoughts before we end it?
Honestly, really, that's it. I mean, Angel, you did your thing, girl. You know, keep playing. You know, don't let them love and basketball you. If you want to do some hand gestures or something, you know, do your thing. You won. You earned it.
I appreciate it, Amber. All right, audience. It was meant to be a short one, which it was for me anyway. But we just want to do a quick live on the Caucasity striking once more again. Listen, shout out to LSU and Angel Reese as well, and Caitlin Clark. She didn't do anything wrong. We appreciate the women's basketball, you know, killing the game and just kind of leading the way as well in terms of just, you know, decency and respect as well. So aside from the systematic racism that was given by government. But yeah, audience, we appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. And we'll chat some more tomorrow. Much love, much appreciation. We'll see you again soon.